let's have a look at Alzheimer's and compare it to dog culture. Is dog ownership good for people that have Alzheimer's? Does dog culture help Alzheimer's people? Does dog culture make it worse? Let's have a look. Okay, so look at these numbers. These are some crazy numbers. Caregivers have depression, they're in poor physical health, they have lots of unpaid money from the extra work they have to do. Look at the increased demand for people that are going to need to be part of taking care of all of these people. Okay? And just look in America. Look at the stats just in America. 7 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's. So those are some numbers from Texas. So you might be wondering, well, why am I talking about Texas? How can this relate to dog culture? So let's go over to this study from 2024. Texan pet owners are more concerned with their pet's diet than their own. So think about that. Think about the downstream effects of that type of mentality. 2/3 of Texan pet owners. So that's these people right here that are working with each other and providing care for people with Alzheimer's. It's also the people that have to care for the caregivers, because the caregivers themselves, they have depression, they have chronic health conditions. So think about that. If you work in geriatric care, you have to be very physically, mentally, emotionally strong. You have to give these people big bear hugs and help them move around, because when you have Alzheimer's, you have a weakened body. Your connection between your prefrontal lobe and the other parts of your brain that control memory and motor, those things start to give out, and you have to really, really be physically close to these people to help them out. So the people that are caring for the Alzheimer's people, everybody that's caring for each other, like people that work in the school that make decisions on what kind of nutrition we're going to give our kids, people that work in these caregiving facilities that are in charge of nutrition and food for the caregivers and the people that need care, they care about their dogs more. 2/3 of Texans care about their dog's nutrition more. So your job is to care for your fellow humans, but survey says that you actually are more concerned about your dog. So how can we trust these people to take care of us and take care of each other? And it's even the caregivers themselves are going to be the ones suffering, because when they go out into society, they go to an espresso stand, they go to a store that stocks the shelves, they go to a restaurant that makes food. Those people that are taking care of these caregivers, they have a love of dogs and less of a love for their fellow humans. So Alzheimer's people that are suffering Alzheimer's, they're about age 65 and up. But Alzheimer's conditions and other stuff that's happening to your brain, it's happening, it can be happening in your 30s and 40s and 50s, and you can still have symptoms. So that's why I brought up the Alzheimer's thing with dog culture. People with Alzheimer's are at a high risk of falls and injury. They have all kinds of problems with understanding their spatial awareness, walking around their house, going from one spot to another, having that thing in their memory that's like a map that helps them study their surroundings and connect that to their brain. One of the things that people need when they're suffering Alzheimer's, or if they're possibly at risk, is to get regular exercise to help with balance and agility, and also it helps their brain to heal itself. So if you have a little dog, a rambunctious dog, it's hard to get exercise. People say, oh, owning a dog motivates you to get outside. But when you have Alzheimer's, trying to walk a dog makes everything worse, unless you have the most perfectly trained dog, which Alzheimer's patients, they don't have time and effort to train dogs, and their family has to take care of them. When you have Alzheimer's, if your family's there, they got to take care of you. They literally have to end up wiping your ass for you. So being able to get out and exercise with a dog, it's just hard for these people. It doesn't add anything to their life. And pets cause these people to fall all the time. Over the age of 75 are the people most likely to suffer an injury from falling over pets. Now they say pets, but of course, this is dogs. So they fall over pet food dishes, they fall over chew toys, they fall over family pets. 85% of the injuries are from dogs. It says here, cat lovers can rejoice. So, you see, these dogs, they don't have the spatial awareness that a cat has. When you have a cat in your house, that thing will pop up out of your way for the most part. A cat is smaller. Cats have a different kind of spatial awareness than dogs. Dogs will constantly run up in your pathway, run between you, jump up to eat your food. And when you have Alzheimer's, you can't sit there and deal with that. That's making your life harder. And if you have a dog that has that kind of poor spatial awareness and you live with it, you end up adopting that poor spatial awareness. And that's not good for your brain either. That means the parts of your brain that you need for spatial awareness, you use those less when you live with the dog. And that can lead to atrophy to parts of your brain, which means more Alzheimer's and more dementia type symptoms. Notice some of the statistics about how dogs cause these people to trip and fall. Being pulled by the animal, so trying to walk it, tripping over the dog, breaking up fights with the dogs. So more dogs in the house means more trip falls. So having dogs in the house is causing death and injury to senior citizens, the same senior citizens that are suffering from Alzheimer's and dementia. So dogs should not be anywhere near these people. Yet what do people do? They put dogs with grandma so that they don't have to deal with grandma. So then grandma can sit at home or granddad can sit at home and just be like, I just want to drink wine and pet my pupper. Well, that's just making things worse for them. It's taking away their human connection that they need. So speaking of human connection that people need to keep Alzheimer's away or to live through Alzheimer's, have a look at this Alzheimer's disease facts and figures. I'll put this in the description. So I'll just show you this little part of the study. But this relates to what I'm talking about, where we just put these senior citizens with dogs. If you have dementia or you're having symptoms of dementia, it's important to maintain a sense of self and relationship with others. So that means other humans. When you connect with other humans, it activates parts of your brain that keep that connection between your amygdala and your prefrontal lobe, identifying participating in activities that are meaningful and bring purpose to your own life. Sitting at home, tripping over a dog, picking up dog poop, that's not a meaningful activity. Connecting with others. So connecting with your fellow humans is talked about very much when it comes to dementia. It's a way to keep your brain working. It's a way to keep your self-awareness there. And so that's what I'm talking about. Just putting these people up with dogs, it's terrible. And then guess what happens whenever they find their dementia finally gets bad enough that they can't take care of the dog? The dogs get dumped, the dogs get thrown into shelters, and then people take pictures of the dogs that are dumped out on the road or whatever, and then they go around talking about, oh, some piece of garbage person dumped these dogs. Well, they probably had to because they got so overworked taking care of their dementia ridden family members that they finally realized, wow, we can't take care of all these dogs, and grandma's on her second broken hip from tripping over all these corgis that we got her. So that has been a look at Alzheimer's. We could do this with lots of other sicknesses too, because as these people start to suffer sickness more and more, society somehow thinks that putting dogs with these people is going to help. But at the end of the day, it makes everything worse for the people, for the dogs, for society in general. And the caregivers, all these stats that the caregivers have to suffer, that's just crazy. And then all of these people adopt this attitude of, we like dogs better than humans, and that trickles down into their thoughts and planning about nutritional care. And nutritional care is very important for Alzheimer's too, because that's another reason you get it, a lifetime of poor nutrition.